Well, hello. We're in John's Gospel. We're dealing with the healing of Lazarus. But things aren't going too well for him at the moment. We're in the beginning of chapter 11. And we'll just look at verses 5 to 10. So let's read them from the ESV. Now, Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. So when he heard that Lazarus was ill, he stayed 2 days longer in the place where he was. Then after this he said to the disciples, "Let us go to Judea again." The disciples said to him, "Rabbi, the Jews were just now seeking to stone you, and you're going there again?" Jesus answered, "Are there not 12 hours in the day? If anyone walks in the day, he does not stumble, because he sees the light of this world. But if anyone walks in the night, he stumbles, because the light is not in him." So we've got... It's rather a strange passage. It says, "Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. So, when he heard that Lazarus was ill, he stayed 2 days longer where he was." I mean, what they wanted was for him to go there and quickly and heal Lazarus. Let's suppose he'd done that, which he could have done. What would have happened then? Well, Lazarus would have been healed without dying. And then sometime later he would have died. And no doubt they would have been glad that he was healed and so on. But they would not have realised the full extent of the power and authority of Jesus. And then we get the second strange thing. It says, Jesus says to the disciples, "Let us go to Judea again." The disciples, "What are you going there for?" The Jews here means the religious leaders. "They've just been seeking to stone you, and you're going there again?" So see, we have this, what humanly seems, well, actually was a dangerous situation. The disciples said, "You want to avoid that." The Jews says, "No, that's where we're going." And then Jesus says, "Are there not 12 hours in the day? If anyone walks in the day, he does not stumble, because he sees the light of this world." So Jesus walked under the light of his Father, in obedience to his Father. So although the situation was dangerous, the traps all over the place of various sorts, Jesus walked by the light of God, so he knew how to walk. He knew how to go about things. And he says, if you don't have the light of this world, if you walk in the night, then you stumble because the light's not in you. Notice that little thing there. It says about walking by the light, then the light being in you. When we come to know Jesus, we receive the gift of the Holy Spirit. But anyway, it says you stumble. Now, if you're in absolute darkness, it's very difficult to find absolute darkness. There's also usually something. People talk about light pollution. We should actually be rather grateful for light pollution, to be honest. But anyway, if you're in a state of absolute darkness, it can be quite terrifying. Being able to see absolutely nothing is, but as it says here, you'll stumble. But the key thing here is, right, if we know God, if we know Jesus, if we follow him, we have the light of the world. And notice there that Jesus, right, it talks elsewhere about Satan being the prince of this world, of this age. But Jesus is the light of the world. Jesus is the one who we need to know, who we need to follow, need to believe in, need to listen to, in order to understand and to know how to navigate our way through life. And there might be situations which are scary, which are threatening, which are very difficult. There might be much human opposition. In this country, there's now a bit of human opposition to the gospel, to Christianity. In some other nations, there is one heck of a lot of opposition. But Jesus says, right, if you know me, you know the way. So knowing Jesus is the key to all this. And if we don't know Jesus, we know nothing. We'll get lost, we'll stumble, we won't know what to do. And I say it's very difficult, absolute darkness. You only need a little light. And then in Psalm 119, 105, it says, your word is a lamp to my feet. So, you have here, Jesus is acting in a very strange way, ways that no one expected him to. Martha and Mary and Lazarus wouldn't have expected him just to hang about for a couple more days. The situation was urgent. The disciples say, you can't go to Judea. They're out to get you. And Jesus says, that's where we're going. And we'll be fine because we're walking by the light of God. Jesus is teaching. He's teaching Martha, Mary and Lazarus. And he's teaching his disciples. And it's not an easy lesson. And the times in our life we wonder, why God are you doing things this way? Why are you not doing this? Why are you not answering that prayer? Why are you not doing things the way I want you to do them? And often it can be because God is wanting to teach us something greater. To open our minds. See, in Romans 12:2 it says, be transformed, and we all need to be transformed by the renewal of your minds. We need to think differently. Because without Jesus, before we knew Jesus, all our thinking was based on the fact that this world is all there is, that it's all down to me or down to you, that there's no God. The way we were created, the way we're meant to live, is we're meant to live in fellowship with God, trusting him, obeying him, walking with him. And that when we do that, things are just so different. So we need to learn, and sometimes Jesus teaching us those lessons is very difficult for us. So on that, it's kind of a happy note. It's also quite a difficult note in some ways, but on that note, we'll leave it. And Lazarus is in the process of dying at the moment. He does eventually get raised from the dead, as you know.